Hi, third grade. This is Mrs. Taminga here. I'm going to read to you The Giant Squid. It's our new book that we're starting. I wish we could read it together and you could have your own copy because I think this is probably going to be one of the coolest books that we read, but it is what it is. So I'm only going to read the first few pages and then please go back into Google Classroom and check the Google Slides we shared with you and answer the questions. So just make sure you're paying attention while we read. Ooh, a table of contents. Nice text feature. You'll probably notice and wonder about this cool picture that I could just look at all day. I mean, there's a lot going on there. A creature of colossal size. Without warning, a gigantic twisting tentacle bursts out of a dark sea. As flexible as a human hand, it snatches a sailor from the deck of its ship. A single scream pierces the night. The sailor and the creature are gone. Ooh, this is like the beginning of a Halloween story. When the seas were still largely uncharted, sailors and fishermen told stories like this about a mythic monster of the deep. Norwegian sailors described a spider-like creature as big as an island. Its long arms could wrap around the masts of a ship and drag it to the bottom of the ocean. Or the monster could create a gigantic whirlpool as it dove back into the depths, pulling the ship down with it. Sailors and storytellers called the creature the Kraken. Drawings of this mysterious beast bore a strong resemblance to what we know as the giant squid. In 1874, a newspaper account of an actual encounter between a ship's crew and a giant sea creature inspired the French author Jules Verne to revise a book he was writing. As the paper reported, a sea captain claimed that he had ordered his crew to fire on a many-armed sea monster, which he believed was trying to climb aboard his ship. Riddled with rifle bullets and weighed down by cannonballs, the beast finally sank beneath the waves. Verne put this tale to work in his fiction. An attack on Captain Nemo and the crew of the Nautilus by a squid of colossal size became the most famous scene in Verne's book, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Early clues. Eventually, these bizarre creatures, or at least evidence of them, began to show up in more than just seafarers' tales. In the 1700s and 1800s, many captains of whaling ships were amateur naturalists, people who study nature. They recorded what they observed in their ship's logs. Some of these captains hunted sperm whales, the largest toothed whales that ever lived. When they hauled their catch on board, they often noticed strange circular scars on the whale's head and jaws. These scars suggested a fierce wrestling match with some enormous beast. But what creature could take on a 70-ton whale? Or I have a caption here I'm going to read. In 1861, a French warship encountered a sea monster. The sailors harpooned it several times. That's a harpoon. But only succeeding in hauling up the back end of the beast. However, that was enough to identify their prize as a giant squid. Inside the stomachs of the whales was another mystery. Waxy balls of a smelly substance called ambergris. These oily lumps are made by the digestive juices of whales. Ambergris coats any hard object a whale swallows that could irritate its stomach. In the center of the lumps, sailor found what looked like large bird beaks. And then it asks, did sperm whales eat birds? Interesting. So here's a caption and a picture to help us identify what ambergris is. And so this is a fresh ambergris from a whale's stomach. It stinks, but over time it mellows into an attractive fragrance used in expensive perfumes. You learn something new every day. Okay. And it's not very big, only about 100 millimeters. So pretty small. Fascinating. Observant whaling captains finally figured out the source of both the round scars and the sharp beaks. They came from squids. The sailors had eaten many types of small squids, which were plentiful in the sea. They knew that a squid has powerful suction cups on its arms and tentacles and a sharp beak inside its mouth. As it battled the whale, a very large squid could have wrapped its arms around the whale's jaws to try to fight off its attacker and escape. The many beaks inside the sperm's whale's stomachs revealed that most squids lost the fight. The largest beaks, the size of a man's fist, so way bigger than mine, and the round scars as big as hockey pucks could have come only from giant squids. Before scientists knew the actual size of a giant squid, artists imagined they might be as big as sperm whales. That's crazy because sperm whales are huge. Then we got some more pictures. It says this giant squid beak is made of chitin? I don't know how you say that word. And is similar to crab and lobster shells. So this is the beak of a large squid. Look at that guy's hands. Like, that's huge. Round scars embedded in a sperm's whale's soft skin reveal that the giant squid suckers were rimmed with small, sharp teeth. Oh, gross. Look at that. Those are like marks, teeth marks from the... I have nightmares about that one. Where would a sperm whale and a giant squid meet? Whaling captains harpooned sperm whales when these marine mammals came to the surface to breathe. Little did the sailors know then that the whales regularly dive down to 4,000 feet, 1,200 meters, or even deeper. It's there in the deep ocean that the sperm whales encounter their favorite meal, the giant squid. Crazy. Occasionally, a dying giant squid was hauled up in a fishing net, or pieces of giant squid would wash ashore. In 1873, Newfoundland fishermen caught what they called a sea monster and showed it to their local clergyman, the Reverend Moses Harvey. In those days, ministers often served as the local experts on scientific as well as spiritual matters. The Reverend Harvey persuaded the fisherman to give him the remains of the squid, which he draped over a bathtub and put on display. Okay, that's weird. It was the first complete giant squid specimen known to science. So here it is. It says, the Reverend Harvey put his sea monster on display by carefully draping it over a bathtub to show off its many arms and tentacles. It's way more than an octopus. Many giant squid, oh, that's for the opposite page. So over here, it says that many giant squid washed up on the shores of eastern Canada in the late 1800s. I wonder why. Sometimes, why do giant squid, look at, they answered my question. It's like they read my mind. Why do giant squid sometimes wash up on shore? Scientists know that sometimes deep, cold ocean currents change their course, moving closer to the surface. Animals that normally live in the depths, including giant squid, may be transported by wayward currents into new territory, often to warmer, shallower water close to land. There, the dramatic differences in water temperature can kill deep sea animals. Scientists suspect that these conditions existed at the times when dead giant squid washed ashore off the eastern coast of Canada. So here's an actual picture. Look at that thing. What do you think you'd do if you came across something in the ocean like that? And then think like all those little suckers have teeth on them. It's terrifying. It's like a nightmare. A giant squid washed up on a New Zealand beach in 1984. Yikes. Okay, well, this is a fun book. I cannot wait to keep reading it with you guys. But that's all I'm going to read for now. Make sure you do your best on the questions we share with you, and we'll talk to you later.